Hi, welcome to Mark's English Academy, the place to learn English fast. If you want to have perfect English pronunciation, then this lesson is really, really important. There's a sound in English called the schwa sound, and it's represented by this upside down E looking symbol. Okay. It doesn't matter, the symbol isn't important. You don't have to remember it, but it's the sound that's important. And it's not really even a real sound because you can't say it alone. Well, if I tried to say it alone, it would sound like this. Okay, so it's different from the other vowel sounds like a, e, all of those that I taught you before. It's very short and it takes the place of all the other vowel sounds in an unstressed syllable. Okay, so if you don't know what a syllable is, then go watch my lesson on syllables. It should be over here somewhere. I think it's just called Syllables, and it's a purple video, so it's in this series as well. Hope you can find it. But this sound, the schwa sound, takes the place of all the vowel sounds that I've taught you so far, usually in a word with an unstressed syllable. Okay, so so far I've taught you all the vowels that I use when I speak English and that other native English speakers use. A, e, I, etc. Okay, so I've taught you all the vowel sounds so far. This one replaces all of those in unstressed syllables. Okay, so look at this example here. Canadian. Canadian. All right, now Canadian has 4 syllables. Canadian. Okay, and the stress is on the second syllable. Canadian. Canadian. All right, what happens to this A and this A? They just disappear. Okay, listen very carefully. Canadian. 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 All right, so that's what this symbol is here. It's the schwa sound that's replacing this A and this A. Now, the reason this happens in English is because English is made up of mountains and valleys. Okay, so when you hear me speaking English, when you hear any native English speaker speaking, it goes like this, all right? So mountains and valleys. And we like to spend time on the mountains. We don't want to be in the valleys. So we go through the valleys very quickly till the next mountain. Okay, so the vowels that are on top of the mountain, we spend time and we say them very clearly. But the vowels sounds that are in the valleys, we don't waste too much time saying them because we want to get to the next mountain really quickly. Think about it like this. The English language is like chocolate and a chili pepper. Okay. You want the chocolate. We all love chocolate. You don't want to waste your time eating chilies when you could have chocolate. but we still need to use chilies. So we eat them as quickly as we can, and then we savor the chocolate. To savor something means you relax and you enjoy it. I like to savor one piece of chocolate at a time. I let the piece of chocolate sit on my tongue and I savor it. Okay, so think about English this way. Everything you hear in English has chocolate and chili peppers. So chilies are hot, so we want to get past them really quickly and get to the chocolate. So this is the chocolate and these are the chilies. Okay. Now, one thing I want to ask you is these words here, Regina, Saskatchewan. Now, there's a city in Canada called Regina, and it's in the province of Saskatchewan. Right. I'm not from here. I'm from Calgary, Alberta. If you want to know where Calgary, Alberta is or what it looks like, I made a video a couple of months ago on my city. So you'll find it somewhere here in my videos. So I want you to listen to me pronouncing these words, and I want you to tell me which letters, which vowels go here, 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 and here. Okay? Regina, Saskatchewan. Regina, Saskatchewan. Regina, Saskatchewan. Do you know which letters go here? You don't. You have no idea which letters fill in the blanks. Because I would have no idea, and I'm a native English speaker. E-A. So, Regina, Saskatchewan. Regina, Saskatchewan. But we don't say that. We say Regina, Saskatchewan, right? Because the stress is here, Regina, Saskatchewan, right? And also for Canadian, we would never say Canadian, Canadian. No, it's Canadian, all right? So to show you how frequently this sound is used, I've written this sentence. All right, so let's read this sentence together. The terrible tortoise and the intelligent pelican ate an abundant supply of American potato chips to celebrate the anonymous alligator's birthday. All right, the terrible tortoise and the intelligent pelican ate an abundant supply of American potato chips to celebrate the anonymous alligator's birthday. Now, you'll notice here are examples of the schwa sound replacing all the vowels. Right, so we have A, it's replacing A, American, American. Right, it's replacing E, intelligent, intelligent. It's replacing I, terrible, terrible. It's replacing O, potato, potato. It's not potato, it's potato. And U, supply, supply. Right? So there are lots and lots of schwa sounds here in this sentence. So I'll just comment on a few things I want to point out to you. So one thing you'll notice is that this word here, the, you may have heard English speakers say it different ways. Some people say the, some say the. All right, I say the. But it doesn't really matter how you say it, because this word the, it's a chilly word. We don't spend time on it. So we want to get to the next word as quickly as possible. That's why this becomes a schwa. You don't even really hear it. Listen, the terrible, can you even hear it? The terrible tortoise. All right, you can barely hear it. Now, the strange thing is that when I say the word the before another word that begins with a vowel sound, then I say the. I don't know, it's just the most natural way to say it if the next word starts with a vowel sound. So listen, the terrible tortoise and the intelligent pelican, the terrible tortoise and the so it's the. All right, but most of the time I say the. Okay, another thing I'll point out is that when words end in LE, the schwa sound is actually before the L. So it's terrible, terrible. You can hear there's a small sound in between the B and the L. Bull, terrible. Okay. If there wasn't a sound between the B and the L, then it would sound like this. Bl, bl. That's called a blend. Like the word blanket. Blanket. There's no space between the B and the L. But here, terrible, terrible. You can hear there's a small sound in between the B and the L. Okay. Now, there are some other words like the that we don't spend very much time on. They're chilly words as well. Like this word, an. An. Now, most of the time when I say the word an, I don't say it like that. I say un, because I'm trying to get through it really fast. So listen, aid an abundant supply, aid an abundant, aid an abundant, aid an abundant. Right? I just barely say the N. Aid an abundant supply of American potato. Okay, I'll read this whole sentence very slowly and you listen, okay? The terrible tortoise and the intelligent pelican ate an abundant supply of American potato chips to celebrate the anonymous alligator's birthday. Right. I hope it helps if I read it slow so you can see how there's no spaces between some words, right? Some words just blend together. Aid an abundant, it's almost one word. Okay, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Y. Sometimes Y can be a vowel sound. Sometimes Y works as a vowel as well. Like in this word, Y is a vowel, so anonymous, it replaces the Y. And also, you can see here the to. If you say the word to on its own, then it's to. But most of the time when we're speaking normal English, to becomes to celebrate, to go, to run, it's just to, and it moves on to the next sound. Okay, so that's the most common sound in the English language. So it's very important to know about it, but don't worry if you don't understand if you don't know when when it should be a schwa sound and when it should be a normal vowel sound. Don't worry too much about it. Just think about this. The more you think about it, I think the better you'll get at it. And a lot of the time when we use this, we use it when we're speaking. It just comes naturally when we're speaking fast. So the better you get at speaking English, then the faster you'll also get. And then this sound will start to come in more and more, I think. So like I said, don't worry too much about it. I think it'll come naturally, as long as you know about it. Okay, next I'm going to teach you some sounds called diphthongs. But first, it's sponsor time. This lesson is brought to you by nobody. Instead of watching a dinosaur roam the streets of Shanghai, you could be watching me promote your product or service. All right, there are more special sounds in English besides the schwa sound, and they're called diphthongs. Okay, they're two vowel sounds put together to make one sound. All right, like oi. All right, oi. It's made with a long O. O-I, oi, oi. And ow, a-o, ow, ow. Right, now these should be fairly easy for you to make because I've already taught you all the individual vowel sounds. So now you just need to put them together. So I hope this is easy for you. Ow. And the third one is I. A-E. I. I. Now this sound replaces the long I sound in many words. Right? And I'll show you which ones here. And the fourth sound is ow. Ooh. Ow. Now this sound is a very Canadian sound. You don't have to learn it, but I'm going to teach you anyway. Because at the beginning of this series, you'll remember that I told you I was going to teach you how to talk like me. Right? And I use this sound a lot, and all Canadians use this sound. I'm teaching you to speak like me because I can't teach you how to speak like a British or an American. I know the American accent quite well. That's why I always tell you how Americans say things. The American and the Canadian accents are very similar, but British, Australian, South African, New Zealand, all those are very different from the Canadian accent. Okay, so I can't teach you those. I can only teach you what I know. All right, so let's take a look at this sentence here. The boy ran out of town at night to fight a gargoyle who weighed about 1,000 pounds. Wow, that's a big, big gargoyle. Okay, a gargoyle is, what is a gargoyle? A gargoyle is a weird-looking creature. If you go to Europe on the very big churches are called cathedrals. On the cathedrals, you'll see on the outsides of the cathedrals, there are these really crazy, strange-looking animals that are coming out of the cathedral. They're made from stone, and they're weird creatures. I don't even really understand what they are, but they're called gargoyles. So just go on Google Images and search for gargoyle, and you'll see what they look like. Okay. So the boy ran out of town at night to fight a gargoyle who weighed about 1,000 pounds. So here we have oi, ow, ow, I, oi, ow, ow, ow. Okay, now you probably are wondering, when do Canadians use this sound and when do they use this sound? What's the difference between ow and ow? Because Canadians say town and we say thousand and pounds, but we say out and about. Now Americans, they don't have this sound. They always use this sound, ow. So they would say, the boy ran out of town at night to fight a gargoyle who weighed about 1,000 pounds. So out and about. In Canada, we say out and about. So the answer is that Canadians change this sound to this sound when it's followed by a non-voiced consonant. Okay, a consonant that doesn't use the voice. Okay, like t or p. They don't use the voice. This is called the voice box. Okay, so if you're making a sound, you're using the voice box. But if you're saying a sound like p or t, it doesn't use the voice box. It's just air coming out, being formed and shaped by the lips and the teeth and the tongue. Okay, now in the last lesson, you'll remember that I told you that there's two kinds of consonants. There's continuous sounding consonants, like could say it forever, and non-continuous sounding consonants like t or d or p. They come to an end. Well, that's one way to categorize consonants. Another way to categorize consonants is voiceless or voiced and voiceless consonants, okay? So when Canadians say this sound before a voiceless consonant, then we change it to ow. But if it comes before a voiced consonant, like n, then it's ow. Okay, I don't know why Canadians do that, but we do. So out, about, shout. What other words can I think of? Vouch, pouch, pouch. Yeah, any sound without a voice, like ch, s, mouse, mouse, house. Okay, Americans would say mouse, house, shout. Okay, we say oh. All right, and this long I here becomes I. Now, some Americans, Canadians do this, and most Americans do this in place of the long I, which I. I taught you that a few lessons ago. But some Americans in the southern part of the United States, they don't use this sound. They would say, for example, fire, fire, for a fire, okay? Like if you're burning wood, then you have a fire. So, I. But people in the southern part of the United States would say fire, fire, or night, fight. It sounds weird to me. Fight, night. Okay. Most Americans that I know say it this way as well. But yeah, Americans in the southern part of the States, I'm not sure how many. Maybe I'd say at least 50 or 60% of the Americans that I know would say I. But I know a lot of people from, for example, Louisiana, a state called Louisiana, or Arkansas, or maybe Tennessee, they would say I. All right. So there are differences in English pronunciation even within the United States. And even in Canada, we have several different, pronunciations. But most of the time, it's similar enough to be called a Canadian accent or an American accent or a British accent. In Britain, you have dozens and dozens of accents. Even in Australia too, I'm sure Australia has many different accents. South Africa, there's lots of accents. Who's right and who's wrong? I don't know. I like to think I'm right. I hope you think so too. So, the boy ran out of town at night to fight a gargoyle who weighed about 1,000 pounds. If you would go out at night to fight a massive gargoyle, then leave a comment right down there and tell me what kind of weapon you would use to fight it. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. I hope you learned a lot, and I'll see you over in the next lesson. Take care.